In episode 71, we analyzed the braking effect of the penultimate step in the spiker's approach. But in volleyball, the approach consists of two key steps. The penultimate step brakes and begins converting horizontal motion into vertical lift. And the final step? It completely stops forward momentum while simultaneously rotating the body so the left hip faces the net, perfectly aligned for takeoff and attack.
Today, we'll again look at the conditioning aspects of the spiker's approach. We already know the biomechanics, step by step, from many previous episodes. But what comes next? Isn't it also the coach's job to think about how to support joint stability and mobility, how to build strength while also developing injury prevention? Because what good is performance if the body can't handle it? Let's take it slow. While the penultimate step ends with a heel strike on the right foot, the final step lands on the outer edge of the forefoot. For left-handers, of course, it's reversed, but the principle remains the same. And as we already know, if that final step lands wrong on the heel, what happens? The body doesn't go upward as it should, it goes forward.
Let's use footage from this year's World Championship. In one of the best spikers of the tournament, Nikolov, we can clearly see how braking and stopping through the final step works.
And if we're talking about braking, how could we ever skip it in training? That's why we include deceleration drills, not only in workouts, but even in warm-ups. Did you notice how the Polish team did it at the World Championship? And isn't it beautiful to see that young kids are learning the very same thing? Learning to stop movement properly is a skill, one that begins in childhood.
Let's return to the braking effect within the spiker's approach. Just as we teach kids acceleration through different drills, we must also teach deceleration, the ability to rapidly slow down or even stop from full speed. But here's an important distinction. During a jump serve, where the foot pattern mirrors that of the spike, the braking effect doesn't need to be as strong. Why? Because the player needs to jump forward, deep into the court. Middle blockers, on the other hand, like Kokonowski here, can't afford that forward motion.
And that brings us to one of the body's quiet but crucial helpers, the tibialis anterior. Do you know how vital it is when stopping forward movement? Its main role is dorsiflexion, pulling the toes upward toward the shin. But that's not all. It also assists in a subtle inward rotation of the foot. Why does that matter? Because that gentle inward roll of the foot during ground contact absorbs impact and helps maintain alignment. Knee-toe direction. That's the foundation of a soft, safe landing in volleyball.
We can group this with other exercises that develop ankle mobility. After all, it's not just about strength, right? What is strength without stability? Or stability without freedom of movement? The ankle must be strong yet supple. Otherwise, the entire approach loses its fluidity and control.
Next comes the popliteus muscle, small but essential. What does it do? It unlocks the knee, allowing it to flex when the whole system is preparing to break. It's the body's quiet stabilizer, fine-tuning lower leg rotation and preventing the knee from twisting where it shouldn't. Notice what happens when the foot turns slightly inward during the step. The popliteus absorbs excess pressure and prevents over-rotation. Isn't it fascinating that the stability of the knee depends so much on a muscle you can hardly see?
Now imagine a duo everyone knows but few truly appreciate, the gastrocnemius and soleus muscles, better known as the calves. What do they actually do? When we run, jump, or stop, they work eccentrically to control forward motion, keep the knee aligned, and stabilize the body. Without them, the knee would collapse, and every step would lose balance. The soleus, hidden beneath the gastrocnemius, is like a quiet teammate. Unseen but indispensable. It slows forward shin motion, stabilizes the tibia against the femur, and holds us steady at the most delicate moment. the landing before takeoff. These two muscles carry enormous responsibility for every confident step. Biomechanics can calculate it, but anyone who's ever tried to stick a landing knows it by heart. Without calves, no knee would hold. All the exercises shown here are designed to enhance their function. Now let's move a bit higher, to the hip and thigh. Think the toe turn in the last step happens only below the knee? Not at all. The hip plays a major role, supported by muscles that control both direction and stability. Here's our next set of exercises, a little orchestral section of its own. The external rotators, which resist inward thigh rotation, the powerful gluteus maximus, its quieter partners like piriformis and obturator, among others. Together, they keep the thigh on course when the body drives forward. These drills, practiced by both young players and Brazilian masters alike, strengthen that coordination. And what about the internal rotators and abductors? They gently help turn the toe inward and balance the pelvis. And of course, the adductors, those stabilizing muscles that support single leg stance and double as rotators when needed. We could go on with more exercises, but your strength coach will explain their execution and purpose in detail. We're just summarizing here to show how many moving parts are at play when we simply say, the spiker's approach.
Many of these exercises apply to other volleyball skills too, like serve reception or defensive digs, but they all remain connected to today's topic. And now, the thigh muscles. Crossing the knee joint and fine-tuning the leg's rotation. Each has its own role, yet they work together in harmony to ensure the final step of the approach lands softly and securely.
Now let's look even lower, to the very sole of the foot, where everything begins and ends. The intrinsic foot muscles, small and often overlooked, play a surprisingly big role. Muscles like the abductor hallucis and the flexors of the toes and big toe determine how softly the foot lands and how firmly it pushes off. When the foot contacts the ground, these muscles actively control the arch's shape, adapting, cushioning impact, almost as if the foot had its own intelligence. Just before takeoff, the arch stiffens, the foot becomes a lever, and force transfers smoothly upward. The dorsal muscles add their part, dorsiflexing the toes to transition fluidly from soft contact to takeoff. The pressure moves seamlessly through the forefoot without any jarring.
What does this mean in practice? That even these tiny muscles deserve proper training. We call it foot core training. Exercises for the intrinsic muscles of the foot. They strengthen the arch, improve balance, and teach the foot to land softer, surer, quieter. And that quiet, confident landing, it's the best proof your body is working right. So now you see how many muscles must coordinate to make one seemingly simple action. Stopping forward motion and rotating the body toward the net. So many components all in one instant, and yet from the outside it looks effortless, almost natural.